Alright guys, it's that time of the week and we are back for another episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup. Plenty to go through today. As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to smash that like button. And if we miss anything off from today's video, make sure to get it in the comments down below and we'll give it a mention next time. But without any further ado, let's jump in. So the big news coming out of Sheffield United is that they have decided to make a managerial change and it won't be Chris Wilder at the helm next season at Bramall Lane. These stories regarding Wilder and his future have rumbled on for quite some time. The biggest problem I've got with this overall fiasco really is just how long it's taken Sheffield United to make this decision. And in terms of Wilder's replacement, it's looking like that will be Ruben Sellés, obviously formerly of Hull City, very harshly sacked by Hull at the end of last season after keeping them up on the final day of the campaign. It's an interesting one this because, I mean, walking into the circumstances he did at Hull compared to taking over this Sheffield United side, it's, you know, completely night and day in terms of the players he'll be working with next season, the expectations on his shoulders. And to be fair to Sellés, I do think there is a very good manager in there. You know, we saw that towards the end of his stint at Reading especially. But boy, has he got big shoes to fill at Sheffield United. And I've got to be honest, this wasn't the sort of route I was expecting them to go down, making such a brutal decision to get rid of Wilder. I thought they'd sort of have someone lined up who is maybe a clear upgrade on him. Sellés maybe isn't quite that for me, but I still think could do a good job there. And we've also got Gerhard Struber going in at Bristol City as well. This one has also been rumbling on for quite some time, but interested to see how he gets on in the Championship once again. Obviously, we have had a taste of the Austrian manager in the Championship previously during his stint with Barnsley. Thought in the circumstances of that job, he actually did quite well, to be honest with you. He's had a few roles since then, managing in the United States, Austria and Germany. Big shoes to fill, considering he's, you know, coming into a team that have just finished in the top 6. But in regards to Championship appointments, I feel like that one is fairly sensible, but we'll have to wait and see. And it also looks like it could be Rob Edwards going in as the new Middlesbrough manager. As of recording, it's being reported that he is in advanced talks to take over at Borough following the dismissal of Michael Carrick. Now, we've known for a little bit of time that Borough have got their managerial shortlist down to 3 names, those being Rob Edwards, Steve Cooper and Danny Röhl. But it looks like Edwards is the nailed-on favourite for that job right now. It's worth taking into consideration there have been reports coming out claiming that Cooper himself wasn't actually that interested in the Middlesbrough job, and considering the compensation that Middlesbrough would have had to pay to Sheffield Wednesday to get Danny Röhl out of his role, looks like they've landed on Edwards after a couple of those factors will have been taken into consideration. In terms of some done deals in the Championship, we've seen Norwich signing Harry Darling on a free transfer after his contract at Swansea was up. Now, Swansea had offered Darling a new contract with the club, but he's decided to reject that and sign for Norwich, linking up with former manager Liam Manning, who he worked at previously at MK Dons. I think this one's a really good pickup from Norwich. They've beaten off quite a lot of competition to get this deal over the line. Norwich's entire back line is in need of a real refresh after how many goals they conceded last season. I think that's a really good addition for them there. Norwich have also completed the deal for Riley Mitchell, who's joining from Stevenage. The teenage goalkeeper will be coming in as another backup option at Carrow Road next season. Hull City have announced the signing of Dylan Phillips after he was released by Rotherham United. The 30-year-old has a fair bit of Championship experience and is expected to go in at Hull as one of their backup options. And we've also had confirmation of Ryan Hardy joining Wrexham from Plymouth in a deal worth just £700,000. I think this one is a really good deal for the Welsh outfit. A lot of Championship interest in Hardy this summer after coming off the back of a solid campaign in the Championship last time around. 28 years old, so at a good age as well, and the fact they've got him for so cheap is because of the release clause that he had in his Plymouth contract. Now, it's interesting because Plymouth themselves were trying to get the striker tied down to a new deal in order to protect his long-term value, but Hardy opted against signing that and has signed for Wrexham instead. Don't get me wrong, this isn't the sort of signing that's going to propel Wrexham into top 6 contention or anything like that, but I think he's an upgrade on most of their striker options that they've already got at the club. I think he's someone who will come in handy to the way they're going to want to play next season. Good counter-attacking forward Hardy is, and he can play off the last man really well. He's got double figures for Plymouth in his last 2 Championship seasons. I think that one just ticks a lot of boxes for Wrexham, I really do. But those are some of the latest done deals which have gone through in the Championship. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into some transfer rumours. So, following months of speculation following Kwame Poku and him leaving Peterborough on a free transfer and plenty of Championship clubs inquiring about his services, it seems like Rangers might have won the race to sign him. Now, of the Championship clubs that were interested or have been over these last few weeks, it's always seemed as if Birmingham and their interest was probably the most prominent. It was reported a month or so ago now that they were prepared to offer him quite a big contract to sign him up for next season in the Championship. But despite being presented with a few different offers in the EFL, it would seem like the player's going to switch to Scotland and join Russell Martin at Rangers instead. So Birmingham, along with a whole host of other Championship clubs, will likely now have to move on to different targets. Another player that Birmingham are supposedly interested in at the opposite end of the pitch is Louis Oppie. He can operate as either a fullback or centre-half, but there is also a bit of interest from the likes of Norwich and Hull City as well. He's coming off the back of a strong campaign in the German third tier where he's just won promotion. He got 3 goals and 8 assists during that season, only has 1 year remaining on his contract in Germany as well. Both Oxford and Hull City are reportedly interested in signing Cardiff's Callum O'Dowda. Now, Cardiff are keen on keeping O'Dowda at the club. He's still under contract with them until 2028. That's worth taking into consideration when hearing these links. Obviously, O'Dowda, a player who came through at Oxford. I'm sure a lot of their fans would be keen to see him back at the club. Fairly versatile as well, can sort of play anywhere on that left-hand side, can't he? Either as a fullback, wingback, or out-and-out winger. You could see why there would be Championship interest there. Another player who could be leaving Cardiff this summer is Callum Robinson, with interest from Preston North End. Now, Robinson probably enjoyed the peak of his career playing for North End, really. Still got a lot of fond memories of Robinson playing for Preston. I think the vast majority of the North End fan base really took to Robinson during his time at the club as well. And despite Cardiff's relegation to League One last season, I actually thought that Robinson himself had a fairly decent season. He scored 12 goals and got 1 assist, particularly in the first half of the campaign. I thought his form was pretty good. The only reservation that I would have as a North End fan over this sort of deal is that, let's say for example, Cardiff won at least £1 million to sell Robinson. North End are going to be investing that into someone who's 30 years old, probably isn't going to have much, if any, sell-on value in 2 or 3 years' time. Given our transfer budget probably will be, fairly restricted this summer, I'd be keen to spend that on maybe a bit of a younger alternative. Listen, if the finances work for this deal, I'd absolutely be all over it. I still think that Robinson would absolutely offer something to this North End forward line. I think he'd actually complement someone like Osmajic quite well playing off him, but it's one that I'd be cautious with if, like I say, the finances don't quite work for this one. I think we could invest that money elsewhere, perhaps in someone younger, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Leicester City is supposedly weighing up an offer for Sam Greenwood, with Leeds United happy to cash in on the 23-year-old this summer. Now, it is worth pointing out that Preston North End did have the option to purchase Greenwood on a permanent basis if they wanted to at the end of the season, but we've decided against that. I think most North End fans would probably agree that was the right decision. Listen, I do think there is something there with Greenwood at Championship level. The biggest problem he's got is consistency for one. First few months in a Preston shirt, I thought he looked like a pretty tidy footballer, but the longer the season went on, for whatever reason, just seemed to lose a bit of confidence or focus at one point of the year, and then could just never recapture that same form in the second half of the season. Got 5 goals, 3 assists for us. Can take a really good set piece, but isn't someone who I'd be paying, an arm and a leg for. It was reported, I think, earlier in the window that Leeds were looking for sort of upwards of $2 million for him, and I certainly wouldn't be paying that. With Leicester, though, they might think they can get something out of him, so that's worth keeping an eye on. Watford defender Ryan Porteous is likely to leave the club this summer on a permanent basis. There's currently interest from clubs in the MLS. He obviously spent the second half of last season out on loan with Preston. Thought he was fairly solid during that time, but obviously North End have opted against trying to sign him on a permanent basis. As soon as Jordan Storey got back to full fitness, Porteous never really featured for us after that, so a move abroad right now seems most likely. There are currently plenty of Championship clubs who are interested in signing Tom Lawrence following his contract at Rangers running out. You've currently got the likes of Wrexham, who have prominently been linked with him. You've also got West Brom, Coventry. Earlier in the window, we had the likes of Middlesbrough and Blackburn linked as well. The 31-year-old didn't really play a lot of football for Rangers last season, only 8 starts in the league, 7 appearances off the bench. He scored 4 goals and got 2 assists in that time. Is someone who's been a really good Championship player in years gone by, thinking back to his spell at Derby in particular. Worth taking into consideration as well that he was actually born in Wrexham, so a move there would be maybe a bit of a sentimental one. Luton Town defender Tendon Mengi has been linked with plenty of clubs in recent days. You've got the likes of Middlesbrough, Birmingham, Burnley and Sunderland, who have also been linked over these past few days. Now, he missed the second half of last season with a knee injury. He's been out injured since December. To be honest, up until this point of his career, he's had quite a few few big injuries, which is unfortunate for him. But when fully fit, I do think there is a very good player in there, and you can see why there would be a bit of interest right now. And it does look like Hull City are indeed leading the race to sign Ollie McBurney on a free transfer. There's been plenty of Championship interest in McBurney. In recent days, we've spoken about the likes of Birmingham and Swansea both being in that race for him as well. But according to the latest reports, McBurney will be sitting down and speaking to the new Hull manager. And if those talks go well, looks more than likely that he'll probably be signing there. Croatian forward Matija Frigin is another one being watched by Hull City at this point in time. Reportedly someone that Sergej Jakirovic, the incoming Hull City manager, likes the look of. He's only 22 years old, coming off the back of a good season in the Belgian Pro League where he scored 13 league goals. The only stumbling block for Hull in this regard is there is quite a bit of interest in the 22-year-old right now. You've got Rangers who are linked, a few clubs from around Europe as well, and he also won't come cheap. A reported asking price of anywhere from sort of 6 to 10 million. Portsmouth are supposedly interested in bringing Abu Kamara back to the club. Obviously enjoyed a really good loan spell with Pompey during their League One promotion season. They were interested in selling him on a permanent basis last summer. Instead, he ended up joining Hull City in a deal worth around 4.5 million. Last season for Kamara didn't exactly go to plan. Scored 5 goals and got 3 assists, but was sort of in and out of that Hull City side, wasn't he? Now, while Portsmouth would be interested in bringing him back, it remains to be seen if they'd have the sort of finances to make this deal work, and if Hull would be prepared to sell as well. You know, let's not forget, this is a player who they dropped 4.5 million on just a year ago. Still only 21 years old as well. You'd imagine the incoming Hull manager would want to make a decision on his future before the club decides to do anything with him. Miguel Angel Brau is set to sign for Coventry after his contract at Granada has expired. The 23-year-old was offered the chance to stay in Spain, but by all accounts is heading to Coventry. Just waiting for official confirmation on that one, but by all accounts looks to be a deal which will be happening. Plymouth midfielder Adam Randall's been linked with a move to Bristol City. Was one of the Plymouth players who I thought would get a bit of Championship interest. He made 39 appearances for them last season, only 24 years old as well, so at a good age. He's only got 1 year remaining on his current deal with Plymouth. We'll wait and see in these next few days if something comes from that one. But there you guys have it. That will not wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to drop a like, and as always, any other rumours that we missed off today, make sure to get them in the comments down below. Apart from that though guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.